Yeah, this ain't right.
No.
That's much better.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
That was weird. It was like kissing your sister. I mean, it was really weird. I'm rare coin expert Walt Durham.
Industry veteran Ben Parker.
And we are the coin guys from Texas.
And Texas has been a little interesting here this past week.
Yeah, Hurricane Beryl.
Yeah, it came barreling down on us.
Yeah. We didn't get too much of it here.
No, luckily enough, we were just east of it, but Houston got walloped.
Yeah, Houston got a lot of damage. I got in-laws in Pearland.
Mm-hmm.
They took on a lot of damage. We lost power down here for a pretty good bit. I was out of power for at least 24 hours.
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate. I got it. We were sitting there, and the lights kind of flickered off. 5 seconds later, they came back on. But
such a weak storm too to lose power. I don't understand. Yeah. Like for us, for where we were.
Yeah.
Now I understand Houston was a lot different, but we got some storms three months ago that was a lot worse than what we got from Beryl.
We have thunderstorms worse here. Yeah. So
I had a blow up pool that my wife lays out on for like tanning in the backyard, and it was just. It still stayed on the back patio. So it couldn't have been too bad.
Yeah, wasn't too bad here.
Well, today we're going to talk about the short set of New Orleans Gold Eagles. That is something that I don't want to say we developed, but it's kind of been an industry standard for, a good decade or so. Mm-hmm. And it gives collectors an opportunity who want to collect New Orleans Gold Eagles to not take on maybe they're of a lower budget. And it's a good starting point. It's 11 coins, and we'll go into all of that with what we call the New Orleans Eagle short set. Mm-hmm. But first, gold's making headlines today.
Yeah, so today's been a really interesting day. A lot of people yesterday, in the past couple of days, they were looking forward to getting the information out from the latest CPI report. Mm-hmm. So early this morning, we got the report. Today's July 11th. So we got the report this morning that consumer price index had cooled a little bit. And we've talked about the index before, how they changed some of the parts that make it up, that they use the parameters and factors to determine what the prices are. But it's down today 0.1%. So that tells us that our prices as consumers are getting a little bit better year over year. But this also might be an indication that the Fed is going to possibly be cutting interest rates as early as September. Now, I can't say whether or not that's going to happen.
Right.
But anybody with gold, silver, platinum, palladium, they definitely took note of this, and the markets did too. Right now, as we speak, we've seen the full effect of it through today.
Right.
Gold is at $2,411.40. So there's no surprise there. It jumped up quite a bit. We didn't break any records today, but this is where we're going to be right before we do.
Right. So how much is gold up today?
So I just changed it. The market technically just closed, but last looking at it, I want to say gold was up today an average between $40 and $42.
That's a good run.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely.
And silver, it's right there hand in hand with gold. We're looking at $31.33. Anybody in silver should be absolutely ecstatic. I want to say the average price jump for today was between 80 and 90 cents. You kind of saw it fluctuating throughout the day. That's great news. We've seen, resistance levels and, these lower parts around, for gold, it was around, I want to say 23.40, somewhere around there. And for silver, lately it's been about 29.50. So it being up like it is, we're really happy with that. Platinum and palladium, I was watching these two earlier today. They were kind of taking turns, teetering on the edge of who was in, ahead of the other, who was in second. And platinum ended up winning at $1,003, and palladium is at $980.
So what's interesting is I actually listened to a podcast on the way in to work this morning, and it was entitled "The Other White Metal." If you remember the old slogan from pork, "The Other White Meat." I try to listen to it. I have a hard time. I'm a coin guy, right? The technical jargon with gold and silver really doesn't excite me. It puts me to sleep, and I was driving, and that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
But I did listen to some of it, and they made a very interesting case for about platinum and how it's extremely cheap. Also, just to touch on gold, I think gold's an incredible buy right now. Gold and silver I know it's hard to say that, or some people out there will look at it and go, well, I mean, it's close to all-time highs. I mean, how is it a good buy? Just trust me. There's a feeling in the market that we get, and you can just tell that it's. But J.P. Morgan has came out and said they're looking for a $2,700 target for gold by the end of the year. And one thing you have to remember is we're in the summer doldrums, right?
Oh yeah,
and we're far removed from, Eastern wedding season, which they buy a lot of gold. We're far removed from the beginning of the year. And for gold to be doing as positive as it is, and silver, those are really strong signs for them to be doing this in the middle of summer. I really like gold and silver, especially with the jump today. One of the things I wanted to ask you, we talked about them saying that there could be possibly interest rate cuts. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means. You know me.
Yeah, you're pretty.
Yeah. So do you think that's kind of a ploy by maybe like the Biden administration to say, hey, things are getting better, like right before election, that's just to talk about interest rate cuts?
In the same realm of that discussion, I've heard also the discussion of our strategic petroleum reserve. Those two things have kind of come up. It's very possible, I can't say, with any certainty that that's the situation going on, but here's the issue if that is true, and that's how I want to think about it. If that is the scenario that we're experiencing right now, we're going to ultimately pay the price for that, regardless of who is in the next, who's our next president.
Right.
The next 4 years are going to be pretty much determined by that. So it doesn't take a genius to know that whenever interest rates are lower, you have more movement.
Right.
When they're higher, you're going to have less people taking risks, taking loans. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. For them to do that, there's a possibility if that's the situation, inflation could get worse.
Right. That's what kind of, makes me fearful of the economy.
And on the other end, Jerome Powell recently was quoted saying that you can also be dangerous on the other end of it. You can put the brakes on too hard and damage the growth going back to some form of normalcy. So it's a very difficult thing to do. I've often referred to it as, when they change interest rates, it's like you're driving and you're trying to figure out where you're going by looking in the rearview mirror, because you don't know what changes you're going to make, what effects they're going to have until the results are out. So it's a very difficult thing to do. I'm kind of surprised that they've been able to manage it as well as they have here recently. Not that things are cheap, but they're doing okay enough. I would be in that camp though. I would say I'm a little bit wary of what happens next.
See, for me, that's why I'm a coin guy, right? From Texas.
Yeah.
I'm a coin guy because, it's so hard to predict. There's so many variables with gold and silver prices. Do we have a pulse on the market? Absolutely. But there's so many variables that, the way somebody says something one day can literally, and I think that's what we saw today is, just basically some statements coming out. You have a $40 swing in gold.
So in your career, have you ever seen anything like this?
No, I haven't. I really haven't. The only thing that I can compare it to, I would think, is 2011. The run up on silver was crazy. We were fielding calls in 2011, 135 new customers a day. It was in the new, and a lot of it was based around silver. Silver quickly went to, it was 30, then 35, then 38, then 40, then 42, then 45. In fact, there's a customer out there who still won't talk to us because he wanted to buy 2 monster boxes of Canadian Maple Leaf. Silver was at $48 and some change. So he was going to pay $51, I believe it was $51 a coin for 2 monster boxes. And we told him we wouldn't sell them to him. And he was really mad. So we ended up selling it to him just to appease him. But we told him it was a horrible idea to buy in silver at $48 and some change. And shortly after it came down, and He hasn't talked to us since. So
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's on him. I'm just saying that's on him. We did our best.
yeah, that's definitely a tough thing to do. You know, you want to help everybody out as much as you can, but ultimately, if they want to do it, they're going to do it.
Yeah. So back to the topic at hand. Everybody knows that we're specialists in New Orleans gold eagles. I mean, we've kind of paved the way years ago for this market, and you're going to see us refer to this thing here, this little brochure we have. Interestingly enough, get my words right. I wrote this. Oh God, probably 8 years ago. And it was basically an internal report for you guys. And we decided to publish it and make it available for our clients. It's really, if you go, there are some other companies out there who deal with New Orleans Eagles. They just copied this exactly. Now the information is up to date, like the population figures and stuff like that is we update every so often. But this is one of the things, like there's books out there on New Orleans coinage. It's really technical. It's really hard to understand. I wrote this to kind of, take all that technical jargon out and put it into perspective. So this is what you're going to see us referring to. If you want a copy of it, we send them out for free. It's not a big deal. Email us, comment, somebody will contact you and you can actually get one of these. We send out a lot every day. So,
and there's other information too that's available on our website through our blog.
Yeah,
There's
we post stuff on the. I write a lot on the blog. I'll try to get better at that. Sometimes we get busy.
Yeah.
But we also, all of our resources are free. They're not behind a
paywall or
our
anything.
customer info wall.
You don't have to make an account. It's
No,
just
like
click
I
it and print it.
I don't believe in that. I believe information should be free. And if you want to choose us to be your dealer, then
Cool.
If not, then that's on you.
Yeah.
So the short set is basically designed for the average collector, right? To get into something like a truly scarce coin, like the New Orleans Eagle, a really rare, not a coin that's mass marketed. I mean, for us, it's about as mass marketed as it gets. And y'all gripe at me all the time because we can't get this particular date or this particular date. And so now it's just so easy for is it novice collector to come in and get a truly scarce pre-33 vintage gold coin that has a good collector base now. I mean, we have built an extremely big collector base for New Orleans.
Yeah, there's
Eagles.
a lot of strong support behind this market.
So the short set in a nutshell.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, the short set are the coins that were made from 1888 to 1906 from New Orleans. It's 11 issues because they weren't made every year. None of them were extremely rare, like the 79.0 or the 83.0. Those are not included in the short set. From 88 to 06, you're going to have some tough issues in there that we'll get to that are slightly challenging, but that's the point of collecting. You want something slightly challenging. But in AU examples are affordable. And in some of these years, mint states are extremely affordable and you're still getting a rare coin. So let's start off with the 1888.0. I just wrote a blog post about that coin today.
You did.
I did. The 88.0 has an original mintage of 21,335 coins. Let's put this in perspective here. You take a common date Philadelphia and there's 1 million of them. So 21,000, you're already looking at, whoa, that's an extremely low mintage. But what's so nice about O-mints right now, New Orleans Minted Eagles, I know some people don't understand our slang with the O-mints. New Orleans Minted Eagles they're not that much more money than a Philadelphia issue, and you're getting a scarce coin. So it was 21,335 minute between both grading services. This hasn't been updated in a little while. It says 1,313 examples. I'm going to say less than 1,400 examples total graded in every grade between NGC and PCGS. that's every grade from VF to MS65. You're not going to find an MS65 88.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the reasons I like the 880 is I can tell you from personal experience that it's not a coin that pops up a lot. That's going to be a little more tougher, wouldn't you think, for somebody to locate it. It's not going to be the coin you first get. I just and it's not just because, I mean, you could hold out for it, but they're just, I mean, especially now this year, it's been really tough to get any O-Mint Eagles. Affordable O-Mint Eagles are going away. That's what leads me to believe that there's going to be a pretty good price jump here in the next, 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, we see it just month to month. Things are changing. So when something moves that quickly in this type of market, it's kind of an affirmation that everything we've done the research on shows us it's true, and now it's actually, we're witnessing it happen.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I know in this last week, we were closed Monday because of Barrel, but just in the last week, we had one 880 become available, and then we ended up having two customers fight over the 880 and 61. Just because, not that they fought over it. It was like, as soon as it became available, one rep called one guy, one rep called another guy, and it's like, hey, they both want it. Well, it's first come, first serve, and I can't get another one. And as a business that really, sucks. I mean, there's just no other way to put it, but that's what happens when you deal with truly scarce coins. These aren't, mass marketed coins, and I really love the New Orleans issues for that reason. Is that your favorite coin in the short set?
The 88?
Yeah.
No, I have a special one right now. It's a little bit further down the list, but you want me to tell you what it is?
No.
Okay, I'll wait.
You save it. You save it. So the next coin, so there's a 4-year hiatus from 1888, and the New Orleans Mint doesn't strike any $10 Eagles until 1892. 1892's got a mintage of 28,688. Okay, a little bit more available. There's about 15 to 1,600 known in all grades. But again, that's another coin that really doesn't pop up a lot. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, without a doubt.
Absolutely?
Absolutely.
Oh, there we go with the absolutely. The 920 you can get, I say, affordably in lower uncirculateds, and definitely affordable for a lot of people in AU. You're not really going to find them in XF.
Right.
It's just a coin that's just, the ones that have survived really haven't graded XF. Low-end AUs are really, really affordable. And I try to buy every single one that comes up that's affordable, but so does everybody else, it seems like. Because here's what dealers know. Dealers know that they're a truly scarce coin, and they know that at their price point, it just makes a lot of sense for a lot of collectors. And New Orleans Eagles right now are hot. They're really hot. And so if you can get something close to, with a half ounce of gold in it at these price points, that make a lot of sense. And it's going to be a challenging coin for you. It's not going to be the absolute hardest in the short set, but when it becomes available, the next time it becomes available, it's one of those dates that's a little bit more money each and every time.
You're right.
The other coin, the next coin, they did make one the next year, which is 1893. To me, this is one of the significant sleeper coins in the short set. And I'm going to tell you why. It's got a mintage of 17,000 coins. So we're going to put it into perspective. I guess you say absolutely. I say perspective a lot. So challenging coins in the Eagles set are going to be the 1841 with a mintage of 2,500 coins. 1879 with a mintage of 1,500 coins. 1883 with a mintage of 800 coins. 17,000 is an extremely low number
For any coin that exists.
Yeah, I mean, especially a pre-33 gold coin. And that coin you can pick up in like 61 grade for less than you can pick up a 99.0.
Right.
The problem is they don't show up.
Yeah.
And when they do, they show up affordably right now. I think it's just that coin. I just really think is a good sleeper coin. If you get an opportunity to buy a 93.0 and 61, 62, 62 plus, I think we had a 62 plus a while back. Just uber affordable. Good
For
coin.
the time being.
For the time being. I mean, just uber affordable coin with a low mintage. And you can't go wrong, but you're not going to be offered it many times in your collecting career if you're collecting eagles.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So we go on to a little more what we call I'm going to air quote it, common issue.
Yeah, and this is all relative to New Orleans only.
Yeah, it's relative to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Of New Orleans, and that's the 94.0. Mintage of over 100,000, 107,500. Probably around 2,000 to 2,100 coins known in all grades between NGC and PCGS. This is a coin that's great starter coin. Great starter coin. If you want to pick up a coin that's legitimately scarce, that's affordable, you want to get into the O mints, the 94.0.
I'd argue most of the time it's probably one of the first three that people acquire.
It is. So we do a lot of the NGC registries with these sets, and in fact, it's on the back here. This was last year. We have curated 31 of the top 50 New Orleans Eagles sets on the registry. I would say that number is probably
Closer to 40 now,
if not more.
if not more. Yeah.
We require, for us to register your set and handle it, we require 3 mints. It's just something we do because we want to make sure you're going to stay in it right before we start registering your serial numbers with NGC and see where you competitively rank. And look, people can do it on their own. We just do it as a value added service, right? The 94.0 is one of those coins that get, like you said, it's one of the first 3 that you get started with. The problem here lately is availability of them. They are a little bit more available than, than the previous coins we just talked about, 88.0, 92.0, 93.0, just because of the higher mintage, a little bit higher survival rate. But if you break it down, 2,000 coins known in every single grade between both grading services, you're looking at, if my Texas math is correct, looking at about 40 coins per state. That's not a lot of coins.
No.
And when you talk about these price points, this is why I love them. When you talk about these price points, you know that, that's not a lot of coins. You're not talking about 40 coins that are $10,000. You're not even talking about, heck, a lot of these coins aren't even $5,000.
Right.
So 94.0, again, going to be challenging, but it's going to be one of the easier ones. It's going to be one of your first ones. I would tell you that's a pretty good coin to start with. If you get offered a 94.
And the same goes too for the next one, the 1895.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the same place. It's a original mintage of 98,000, and of course combined population that has survived in all conditions, roughly 1,850, somewhere around there. So those two, I would say the 94 and the 95, it just so happens that they're consecutive dates. Those are 2 of the 3, probably the first ones people pick up, because they are a little bit more available. They're not going to be always available.
No. And
they are extremely affordable.
Yeah. One thing to keep in mind, too, with population figures, I've told you this 100 times.
And this is my favorite part about New Orleans, too.
Is resubmissions. So if you're not familiar with what resubmissions are, I am very guilty of it, and so is a lot of other dealers.
Yes.
In fact, I'm trying to think of that coin we just upgraded not too long ago.
Was that the one that was an accident?
Yeah.
Okay.
We cracked out a coin in a particular grade. So this is what a resubmission is. A lot of times we buy these coins and we get them in here, and then we evaluate them whether they're going to go wholesale or retail. Because if we wholesale them out, it's because it's just subpar for the course for its grade. Well, we got a coin in, and we do this all the time. So we'll get coins in, we'll look at them and say, man, this coin could upgrade. And we did that with it was a Type 1, it was a no motto New Orleans Eagle, but it went from 45 to AU 50, and there's like a $500 to $1,000, value increase there. With NGC, what happens, and you can say this is a conspiracy theory, but what us dealers do, and this is real life stuff, is we crack them out of the holder so that NGC doesn't know the grade that it was originally in. Because who wants to go back and change their opinion? And so, therefore, a coin like that, the coin that was originally in 45 doesn't get taken out of the population. So you have to keep in mind when we put populations out there, it's just based on, and when NGC and PCGS and CAC put populations out there, it's based on what they know. They don't know that coin is no longer, it's the same coin in 45
Yeah,
and
to
50.
their knowledge, they're just keeping up with how many were received.
So these populations could be lower. There's a great chance that they're lower.
Yeah.
Especially with the higher value stuff, like 83 O's. I mean, there is a huge difference between a 50 and a 53 in price. And not a grader can have a good day, and they're humans. Grading coins is an art. It's not a science. So keep that in mind when you look at these population figures. Know that there could be 100 or so less.
Yeah, and we're not the only people that have done that in the past, and we're not the only people that talk about this either. There are books out there, especially in this area, where, they'll say NGC and PCGS combined population is this. However, we believe that there's truly this many amount. So a lot of people out there talk about it too, how, especially like the 1883, that one, just off of the population reports, it says there's a total of 60.
Yeah. No.
There's not 60.
There's probably 40.
Yeah, more than likely.
30 to 40.
And you're going to notice that in the higher value coins, it makes more sense for them. It's a risk worth trying that if it does upgrade, it has the highest reward.
Right, and it's called the crack out game, right? And I wanted to do a series years ago. I wanted to do a series on just recording us cracking out coins and submitting them and showing the results. And I know some people do that on YouTube now. There's dealers out there that's how they make their living.
Oh yeah,
I mean that's all.
If you have
do.
a good enough eye, you can make a living off of it.
Yeah,
so.
and not to get all technical and stuff, but there are coin doctors out there, and like that is a rabbit hole that we can save for another episode.
This is enough information.
Yeah, we could save that for another episode. Coin doctoring is a thing. I don't know how to coin doctor. I know of people who do coin doctor, and
it's very risky.
Yeah, they take it's a risk reward business. But I've sold a coin one time, and it wasn't an eagle, Omen Eagle. It was a $20 lib. It was like $17,000. Next grade up, probably a $25,000 coin. It was just one of those big jumps, and it took him a couple of resubmissions to get it, but he got it. And again, and also one thing to keep in mind with pre-33 gold coins is quality for the grade. We've seen this time and time again. This is why CAC has been such a big thing. Exceptional quality coins is a thing. It's because, and I explained this to you guys earlier, it's like this. If you have a 1928 Model A that's in completely original from the Ford factory, and it's in mint condition, it is worth substantially more than a 1928 Model A that's been fully restored to mint condition. And that's the best way I can put it for coins. There are coins that are original, undipped, and they can bring, I have a whole research report written by somebody else on New Orleans Eagles, how, one coin can sell for $4,500 in AU58, and another coin in AU58 sell for $9,000. It's a real thing, and this is why you need to work with a real dealer. Yes, cheap coins aren't good. Good coins aren't cheap. So understand that there are cheaper options out there, but the resale, the value down the road will be less because of that. The grading services don't take that into account. They're strictly grading the grade of the coin, and
It's just something to be mindful of.
that's why CAC, exceptional quality coins, sell for more money. That's why CAC's built a business on it, right? And so keep that in mind when you're looking at pre-30. Work with a knowledgeable dealer, because I mean we've bought a coin off of eBay that was stupidly cheap. We get in here, it's got a tire mark.
Yeah, that was mainly.
Yeah, it just proved the point.
Yeah,
I think we lost $100 on it, but we thought it was cheap, and it was like
it's cheap for a reason.
It's cheap for a reason. So that was the what
the 95.
That was the 95. Yeah, that's one of the more common ones that we have available.
94 and 95. If you're going to start anywhere, that's a good place to start. So hang on one second. I'll say this because I've been thinking about it while we've been looking at these. My favorite is I got to go with the tie. I'm not very decisive on one particular coin, and you've probably picked up on that in the past. But I really like the next two. These are. It's a tie. It's a tie in my opinion. As far as my favorite.
The next two are your favorites?
Yes, without a doubt.
So the next two are considered the key dates of the short set, and that's the 97.0. And the 97.0's got a mintage of 42,500. Survival rate, though, is less than 1,000. So that's why that's why it's a key date. It's almost never available. And you're going to have to pay up for this issue. It's still an affordable issue in 61. Starts to get a jump in 62. But AU55, AU58 examples are affordable when they come up.
Yeah.
The problem has been lately with 97.0s and the next coin, the 99.0, is that the affordable examples are being eaten up. I mean, there's just so much more demand at that lower price point that they're just almost never there. Because I promise you're not going to beat me to the punch on a 97.0 and AU55. I mean, the fun show right now is going on in the summer fun show is going on in Florida right now, and I'm getting text messages from dealers
that know that you're looking.
They're just sending me coins, and I'm getting messages before the Bourse floor is even open. So even if you're at that coin show,
chances are
Walt's
got it.
You're not getting a chance at that coin. I'm buying that coin.
Yeah.
Again, and we talked on this. The 99.0. So the 97.0, the 99.0, the 99.0 has a mintage of 37,047. Right? Again, survival, population, we have it listed as total graded. So the survival is less than 1,000. Again, resubmissions are a big factor in the key dates because there are big value jumps from 62 to 63 on these. So take that into consideration. Probably 800 or so coins actually survived today that weren't lost to the ravages of time. Smithsonian has a really nice example of a 99.0. They have a 63, which is a heck of a coin for a 99.0.
Oh, yeah.
One thing to keep in mind as well with New Orleans Eagles, they don't grade well. They haven't, not that they don't grade well. What's a better way of saying that?
The strike quality was not the best.
They're just not known in gem.
And that's what we like to do. If you're buying a house, you got to get comps for the neighborhood. Well, when you compare New Orleans to San Francisco or Philadelphia, you can go get, in a lot of these years, you can go get a Philadelphia or San Francisco, and a 64 in some situations is not a big deal at all.
No, not at all.
You will find it is extremely difficult to get any of these coins in as high as a 64.
Yeah.
And if it's there and it's available, it's going to be a whole lot of money.
Yeah, and when you get up into like some of these issues, you get up into 64, 65 grade, again, like, O1S, $10 Liberty, 64, 65 grade, you can get that coin relatively inexpensive compared to other issues in that grade. And you're going to understand that they are they are rare. When you get up to this, we have customers that have, MS64, but they're in the top 3 of collections in the world.
Right.
And they have put some money behind their collection. And if you're one of those people, by all means, you talk about adding absolute rarity and relative rarity to a collection, then yeah, focus on the highest grades possible. But that's not feasible for everybody, and we know that. That's the greatest thing about New Orleans. There's something for everybody, and you get the absolute scarcity part of it. You get the low mintages in comparison to Philadelphia and San Francisco issues. But if you can afford the big dog coins, is that what you call them? Big dog? Big dog coins. Then by all means, but understand it's going to be a challenge, and they're going to be far and few between. 19010, first one of the 20th century. Is that how it works? Mm-hmm. If my Texas century math is correct. 010, mintage. So this is when mintages start to go up. And you're looking at a mintage of 72,041 coins. Survival rate, about 1,200 to 1,300 coins. Going to put it in a range. Resubmissions are possible on this date. Not as heavy as some of the other dates. But, the more and more I think about it, as we're talking about these issues, it's not a available date that we're getting a lot lately.
No, I would say this and the last two, the 97, the 99, and the 01. So I'll bring up the two things real quick. The first one is we've talked in previous episodes about when you're looking at mintages, and this goes for any coin, especially modern, you're going to notice the mintages start to dip down, and then they'll start to go up again. Well, any of those surrounded by that little period of time, that dip, those are typically going to end up being key dates. They're going to be ones that are going to be more valuable. And the case is the same for these coins. The 1901, it has a survival rate of 1,230 coins, so roughly 300 more than the two prior. However, it is right there in terms of availability. It's just simply not as available as these other years.
And what you also have to consider is it's got a mintage of almost double the 97 and 99. And the population hasn't doubled.
Right.
It's not like there's 2,000 coins available on the 010. So that's why you're not seeing it available. And look, the market for a while, we really started heavily suggesting or recommending O-Mint Eagles back in 2017. And the market has since dried up. I mean, back then we had different variations of each year pretty much, different price points. But now you look at our inventory and it's like, okay, we never have a 99.0 in stock, and I say that because it will never hit our website. We have so much demand on the floor.
We have individuals that are looking for some of these coins in particular that it's already spoken before it even
gets here. Yeah. So keep that in mind with the 010. Relative to its mintage, it's got a pretty low survival. Smithsonian has an AU58 example, and this for those who aren't aware, the Smithsonian collection is the world's greatest coin collection, and they only have an AU58. This because we have people call all the time and say, "Well, I want a 64." Sir, you can't afford a 64, or sir, they just not
some
available.
of them, none exist.
Yeah,
that's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. If the world's greatest coin collection has an AU58 example, but again, in AU58, it's affordable. The 010 is affordable in AU58. I'd say 62-ish. It starts to be like you're really serious about this collection, and I mean, handled a couple 63s. Yeah. Very nice coins, but they're just not really known in like I said, in 65, 64.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is that anybody that's pursuing this individual collection of $10 pieces, they're going to have these coins for quite some time. Either they're going to pass it down to family members, they're going to work on building that collection, and this is not something that's done, even in a year. I don't think we've ever even seen somebody assemble this complete collection, not just the short set, but the whole collection. People are going to be picking these coins up. So when you talk about a population of, let's just say 2,000 in all grades, and there's individuals that have them and are going to hold on to them, the market, like you said, is just drying up. They're not there.
They're not.
Yeah.
So the next coin is the air quotes the most common Omen eagle.
Not common at all.
Not common at all by other, but in the eagle family from New Orleans, it's common. It's got a mintage of 112,771 coins. It's the 19030. Okay. I'm going to tell you a story, and you might remember this. Back in 2019, 2020, we did mail out advertisements for 030s. This is how we started the New Orleans Eagle program. It's not a big secret. We started it by marketing 030s because they were uber affordable, but you got a coin that was only, 112,000 minute compared to a coin that was 1 million minute, and you weren't paying even double the price, yada, yada. And we would market them in MS61 because MS61s were readily available. Fast forward to today, at one point we had 11 030s in 61 grade alone in our inventory. That doesn't happen ever anymore. Not that we don't buy them, that I can't get 11
It's
030s.
impossible to do that. Yeah.
And that just tells you where the market's going. 030 is the starter coin. So if you're just like a complete newbie, the 030 is readily available. Well, I say readily available. It's going to be the most available of all these New Orleans Eagle issues. But they're not available like they used to be.
Right.
And, we had people in the past when we sent out those advertisements, they'd call in and kind of hem-haw about it and kind of, maybe not. And I bet they're kicking themselves square in the rear end today. But, if you look back at what we were, selling those things for in 2019, 2020, and look at what, it cost me to even go buy one right now.
Right.
It's insane. And I know gold prices has moved substantially. And that's a good thing. You benefit from movement in gold prices. These are a half ounce of gold.
Yeah.
So gold prices do help these. And the more people who come into gold, I say it on every series, a certain percentage of those people are going to go into specialized areas. And that drives demand. I mean, if you go look on the NGC registry website, the most popular outside the Gold American Eagles, the most popular registered set is the $10 O mints, period. I mean, there's plenty of registered sets. You go look at the other, sub-series of registered sets, and they're just nowhere close. So the demand is there, and that's why there's no 030s readily available.
Yeah. Have we talked about what the registry actually is? I'll just touch on it real quick. So
not
in case y'all don't know, NGC allows you or us or anyone out there to take the serial number that's associated with each coin and assign that to a collection name. So we have different collections out there. You can have a fun name that you build, and then each of those coins, it'll have a photo with it, the grade. Well, here's the interesting thing. Each coin, so let's just say the 1903, for instance, in a 62, it'll assign you more points than a 61, and then further down and further up, whichever way you go.
So it allows you to compete against other collectors in the world to see who has the best
So it
sets.
actually give you a world rank for your collection, and it's all based off of NGC's assigned points. It makes it a really fun way to competitively collect in a certain area.
And you name these sets, not your name.
Yeah,
so it's private. And if you go to look at the NGC registry and you look at, you'll see like it'll have a collection name. What's an old one? Cat's Meow.
Things like that. Just
and it'll say champion rarities on it, and that's the contact. That's it. So there's no contact to you. We have some people who like to register their own sets. Understand that NGC will have your information. They won't publicize it.
No,
but that's why I think a lot of people let us handle it. We have somebody here who catalogs it and puts it into your registry for you. You don't have to touch it or do any of that, and it notifies us if that coin's trying to be sold elsewhere. Like
if someone else tries to register it,
yeah,
it's a good way to protect yourself and also have fun competitively building this collection. And I'll say this before we move on to the rest. NGC, I've noticed, has started putting up more money toward supporting this area of competitively collecting. Just back in January of this year, I think they had one of their biggest release of awards. You know, depending on your rank, you can get recognition for your collection, and they were giving credits out for grading coins. They were giving personalized plaques to certain people, and they write a short article on each collection that receives an award.
Yep.
That makes it a lot of fun, and
it gives you something to display and hang your hat on. You're not going to just display thousands of dollars worth of
exactly
$10 gold liberties.
I mean, you could if you wanted to.
Well, you
don't
could.
recommend it, but
we don't do it here.
No.
But yeah, you can hang up the plaque on your wall, or just if you're
Put it up
one
in your office, and
you get certificates. If you're not, you know, some of the lower end sets get certificates, and you get to you could frame that and display it. And, you know, we have NGC registry awards in there. And another thing to note is the coins don't have to be NGC for NGC to put them in the registry. They will verify and put in PCGS coins. I don't know if they're taking CAC graded coins as
I don't know. It might be something they move toward.
I would think so. CAC's got a pretty good backing.
That, and they've already done so much for CAC support this year already. So I see that happening eventually.
Yeah. It makes a fun way. It makes it collect, so you can kind of see where you stand in the rest of the world. And that's what collecting's about. Collecting's not about, you know, how much money I made on this coin.
Right.
Collecting's about, you know, building the best possible set you can. And even if you could only look, you're not going to get a lot of you guys out there. I mean, we got a guy competing to get to number one right now, and he's got the money backing him. It's just hard to do. But even if, you know, it's just even to be the top 25 sets in the world is a great accomplishment. And best way to start is with the short set from, you know, the New Orleans Eagles.
So these next two, we go from, this is what I like about New Orleans. 1 year, it's more affordable. I can take my time. I have a couple of options, and then bam.
So the 040 is sneaky rarity, because it's got an original mintage of 108,950.
That's close to the 1903. That's not that, you know,
right, but rare, only less than 1,800 of them are available, and are available in all grades. And it's an issue that didn't grade well.
Yeah,
you know, it's an issue that's not known in higher grades as much as you would think. And so that's why you can't look at the mintage on that one. You just can't. Again, affordable coin in AU 50, 53, 55, 58. You're going to get a little dicey. You know, you're going to get into serious. And again, I guess I should define serious money.
Here's the thing about it, though, and I have this conversation with people all the time, is that affordability, serious money, all these terms are relative. It's all relative. So if you're already interested in $10 gold liberties, then when we say that, you know, serious money might be, you know, 5 figures, I would say. Just depends. But when we say affordable, I mean, if you're already getting gold, these are extremely affordable.
Yeah. I mean, like we just purchased an O-Mint, got here today. It was over $100,000. I mean,
they do exist.
That's
they're
serious.
Be up there.
That's serious money.
Yeah.
None of these coins that we've talked about in the short set are 100,000.
Yeah, these are.
Yeah, they're not, and that's why we love them. I mean, it's something for everybody. You got to be a serious collector to get up into the $100,000 coins. But the 040, again, this is one of those coins you need to pay attention to. It's not going to be readily available. Smithsonian has an MS60. I think most everybody can get a 58 to a 61. And I would stretch yourself to a 61. Like really, you're only going to benefit the higher the grade, the rarer the coin, the better off you'll be in the long run. Now, this next coin is my favorite issue.
Yeah.
And I've said it until I can say it no more. And now I have a platform to say it. I've told you guys, I've written articles about this. The 19060 $10 gold eagle from New Orleans is the most undervalued New Orleans eagle in the entire short set. to me, it's the third key date.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to tell you, I buy coins day in and day out. Most times 7 days a week because we have cell phones now.
Mm-hmm.
This is a coin that is never available. And when you hear the numbers, you're going to be like, well, that's not extremely rare. Just hear me out. 060 has an original mintage of 86,895 coins. Again, that's far-fetched from even the 93, the 88, the 92. Survival estimate, or not even estimate, between both grading services, there's been 983 coins total graded. 983. But this is what people forget. The 060 is the very last $10 gold eagle minted at New Orleans. So it's an issue that has more demand than the others, because there are people out there who listen to what we're saying or writing, and they'll go, I'm not going to build an entire collection, but I'd like to have one.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one that you want? You're not going to get the 410, the very first one New Orleans ever made.
Durham.
I mean, you can, but it's
a lot more than
that's a big dog coin.
Yeah.
The 060 is extremely affordable up to a certain point. AU58 examples, but they do sell for a premium now. They are never available. I promise you, you're not going to beat me to it. I mean, sometimes, if I see a subpar coin, I might pass on it.
Right.
But even then, I am telling you right now, if you buy one O mint in your lifetime, the 060 is it. I promise you, you will not go wrong, because there are people like me who need that coin and never can find it.
Yeah.
And you want to have the coins that we can never find. And it is, I'm telling you, 060, without a shadow of a doubt, should be a coin that everyone owns. I promise you. I don't know how else to say it. I really don't. And it's not a marketing ploy. They're just not out there.
And I'll follow this up. I'll follow that up with this, that you don't have to get, this isn't, like you said, it's not a marketing ploy. You don't have to get these coins from us. But if you are serious about getting something that is truly amazing, go and get one of these coins, especially the 1906. It blows my mind that more people don't know how rare this area of the market really is.
It really is. And like I said, the 060 is going to cost you a little bit more money than an 030 or 950 or 940. The 060 has just so much more demand because it's the last eagle ever struck at New Orleans. And it's a legitimately, you look at the survival estimates, less than 1,000. That's a legitimately scarce coin.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at 20 coins per state. If you want to break it down to the 50 states, keep in mind there's investors overseas and collectors who buy this stuff. And if you're a nerd on New Orleans, you're going to say, well, there's bank hoards in Europe. Those are long gone, by the way. Not that, I don't say they're long gone. There's probably some over there.
But in the ones, I will say this, in the ones that we have seen, because I was just doing a report on this, that most of the hoards that we see, the vaults are not primarily consisted of New Orleans only.
Correct.
I think I know the Fairmont was one of the bigger hoards.
Yep.
So I was doing the numbers on that, and it came out to just $10 pieces from New Orleans. In all the years that they struck them, I think maybe between 2 and 5%, somewhere in there, of the entire hoard was New Orleans.
Yeah.
And out of that, they only picked the best ones that they could possibly find in that group. The rest of them are the dirt hoard, as people call it. But
in the early days, that's where we were getting coins to market. They were coming straight from overseas, get them certified, and we'd go market the coins.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen anymore. The well has dried up. And so if you take anything from this episode, 060, I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. I cannot, I've said it for years, and it's just, I don't know how to make people understand that coin is just, it's got so much demand behind it. Even, people who, you can put, there's different ways to collect, right? Like we just explained one way of collecting. the 060, like let's say you're going to collect one eagle from each branch or each mint, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Denver, all that. Well, the people who want to make that a nice collection or something unique is they go for unique issues. The 060 falls into that category. Last eagle ever struck in New Orleans. You have people who want one example from the New Orleans Mint. They want it somewhat affordable. They're not going to go out and get the 83.0. Hey, that 060. I mean, it's got multiple areas of demand. Not only that, you got the people who are collecting the entire series. You got people who are collecting just a short set. So you just got multiple levels of demand, and that's why that coin, regardless of its mintage, again, the survival rate's pretty low. But I'm just telling you. Don't say I didn't say it. Don't say I didn't say it. That's all I'm going to say.
And the fun part is we're going to be looking back at, because we already looked back at, prices and availability from the past. We're going to look at now, just like with the spot price of gold, we're going to look at prices now in the future, and we're going to say, man, I should have got more, should have got that one. And it's just, that's how truly rare coins work.
Yeah. So we'll end on this. These coins are not as available as they once were. It is a very fun series to collect, rich in history, truly scarce coins that can't be mass marketed. I mean, I'll say that in years past, especially in like 2017, it wasn't uncommon for us to have 2 or 3 060s in inventory. We don't have one in inventory. It doesn't make it to the inventory list. It's like, hey, I just bought a 060, and it's like y'all fight over who you're going to,
Who's getting that?
Yeah, because there's a waiting list. So, yeah.
Now that you mention it, I'm thinking it's been a while since we've had duplicates or, quantity of any of these.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only becoming even more so of that.
And some of the dates like the 95.0 and stuff like that, because we specialize so much, we're a little more pickier now.
Because quality, eye appeal, quality, all of that matters.
We're pretty picky. I'm pretty picky with, especially O-Mint 10s. I know what a good, what we call meaty, a good meaty coin.
Yeah.
Coin's got a lot of meat on the bone. It's just, the short set in a nutshell, to wrap it all up.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with the short set of eagles. It's a great starting point. It's 11 coins. Even if you buy one coin a year, you'd finish it in 11 years. And that's very doable for like half the country. Again, if you want, it's called Eagles of the Big Easy. Email info@Champion Rarities or leave a comment. Somebody will get a hold of you. We'll send it out. Again, this brochure has been copied by a couple companies out there. It's not overly technical. It'll give you a great overview of the series and what makes it special. Fair?
Fair enough.
Good deal. Well, if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments and we'll try to answer them.
There you go.
Till next time. I like throwing stuff.
That was the best throw yet.